Oh my god, this card is so amazing. We totally have to talk about this right now. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. Let's professionally move my mic after I've started recording. So good at this. Speaking of being so good at this, sorry to any of you who made it to last night's live stream that ended abruptly when my guts decided to attack me. So we had to call it before we could open the mail. So tonight, we're going to do a live stream. We'll open the mail that we were supposed to open yesterday. And guys, got a box today. All the way from Japan. Japanese treats. What? Yeah, some of you might not know, but I have a second channel where I eat all kinds of crazy stuff. We do all kinds of fun things. And by the way, I'm trying to get it to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm so close. I'm at like 725, something like that. So help a brother out. Come on over to my other channel and hook me up with one of them subscribbles. Oh, check it out. I got some other mail too. All right, so we're gonna do a mail stream tonight. Anyhow, let us get back. Sorry, I'm so stoked. I'm so excited about this card. It's ridiculous. Etrata, the Silencer. Let's get her up on the screen. We'll put her up over here on top of where that beautiful Dimir banner was. I got the Dimir banner up because this card, this is a Dimir card. I mean, that other counterspell we talked about, whatever. That was garbage. This is Dimir, man. Dimir is mind messing with black blue crazy vampire. Let's break down this card. Honestly, I'm so excited about it that I'm not even explaining this properly. So let's start by taking a look mechanically at what we're dealing with. We are dealing with a 3/5 creature. It is a vampire assassin that costs 1 black, 1 blue, and 2 colorless. It is a legendary creature, so it can indeed be used for commander, and I have a feeling this one's going to. I don't know that much about commander, but I feel like it's got a lot of potential there. So let's dive into the abilities. Etrata the Silencer can't be blocked. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, exile target creature that player controls and put a hit counter on that card. That player loses the game if they own 3 or more exiled cards with hit counters on them. Etrata's owner shuffles Etrata into their library. Now, this is a lot to unpack in terms of abilities, especially since this is unique to Etrata. There are no other creatures in the game that have her ability, and she's an incredibly interesting alternate win condition. There's a lot of different ways to win in Magic the Gathering. This is now a new one, and I love it. She basically changes and warps the game into being about her. So whenever you hit your opponent with her, you get to pick one of their creatures. That creature gets exiled, and you put a counter on it. When you've exiled 3 creatures that way, you win. How cool is that? Now, every time she hits, though, you do have to shuffle her back into the deck. That's the deal. So you don't know when it's going to come back up. Now, obviously, you can run 4 copies of this, but with her being legendary, there can only ever be 1 on the board. Now, interestingly enough to note, as far as I understand, with Commander, and I am not a Commander expert, but with Commander, if you're a creature, if your Commander is going to leave the board, basically going to get shuffled back into your deck, you have the option to put them back into the command zone. So that should mean that you could use Etrata turn after turn after turn without having to worry about getting her back out of the deck, which I definitely think makes her more attractive for commander. Now, to me, what makes this card so amazing is how well, not only that it creates the minigame, but that it encapsulates the flavor so well. There's so much flavor to this card, guys. I want to stop and take a look at the art here. Now, I found the full scale version of the art, not the clipped down version on the card, so you can see that she is up on this rubble, kind of half rubbled chimney. I absolutely love how kind of dark and dusky the back environment is. You can tell she's high up in some kind of spire. She's framed right in front of the moon with those bats going fine. She's got that blade out there. The thing is she is an ancient legendary assassin vampire, right? This is the Dimir Guild's only vampire like this. Like, Etrata is a unique individual. And a lot of assassins, you know, boom, they disappear, strike from the shadows, all that sort of thing. Now, Etrata, to me, is a different breed. Etrata is something the Dimir use when they want to wage a campaign of mental terror specifically against planeswalkers. Etrata is like the keep in reserve, call her out to take down planeswalkers style, hardcore, like taking out the top target level assassin. And she's not a strike from the shadows, they don't see you coming sort of thing. She's the you see me coming and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's transmitted to me in the unblockable concept where it's like, she comes out, she doesn't have haste, so there's a full turn where everybody knows what's going to happen. You know she's coming through at you. You know she's going to take out one of your creatures. That's going to happen. It's guaranteed. It's psychological. I picture this artwork being basically Etrata specifically showing herself to the planeswalker that she will be charging at the next turn and taking down. And it won't even be a direct charge. It's just boom, appear. Because she's unblockable, there's nothing anybody can do to stop this. Now, this is where the crazy psychological warfare aspect of it comes in. And that's what makes this really cool to me. Because a lot of assassins are the straightforward, like, I'm going to kill you. But the Dimir strike from the shadows, and warping somebody's mind is of great value. And it's something that the Dimir do all the time anyway. So it fits right in with the flavor. Now, instead of the assassin running up and taking you out, what she does is she runs up and damages you, right? So Etrata runs in for 3 damage. And she's drawing some of your blood. And then she uses that magical energy to run around, like, quickly right afterwards and slaughter your strongest lieutenant. Like, picture being like the head of an army, and then all of a sudden there's this assassin that keeps making its presence known. Like, you see the assassin ahead of time, and no matter what you do, this assassin always gets by your defenses, comes in, puts like a slash down your cheek to let you know you're not safe, and then before they leave, they kill the best soldier, your right hand man. They just take him out, and they just keep coming back and doing that. And it gets to the point where, as the leader, you become so unhinged because there's no safety for you. They just keep showing up with that knowing look on their face, just with that blade, and then boom, all of a sudden out of nowhere, they're leaping at you, slashing your face again, slaughtering your next best man, and running off into the night. So to me, the concept of the 3 creatures being removed actually represents that psychological concept of those 3 creatures being removed are enough to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, that sends you spiraling into gibbering madness, which as a planeswalker, if you're mad and crazy, at that point you're not going to be able to keep up in the duel anyways, and the other planeswalker is going to be able to take you down. So I absolutely love that. I love also, from a non-flavor perspective, just the decision making that will come about as a result of this card. Just in case anybody's wondering, if you attack your opponent and they have no creatures out, you don't have to shuffle Etrata back into your deck. Because her ability has the word target in it, when there's no target for it, the whole ability does not occur. So you don't have to end up shuffling her in. So she will end up being able to plow in for 3 damage every turn if your opponent decides that they're no longer willing to put out creatures because they don't want to auto lose. So no matter what, Etrata doesn't somehow nullify her own ability to win. She'll always be able to strike your opponent. That psychological warfare concept from the assassin, it's so beautiful. I love that, just striking out in the moonlight, like, you know I'm coming, and you know there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, and I will come again and again and again. Honestly, this card is so exciting to me in terms of flavor that this rarely happens. But I sat down and I started to think about the fun cards that you could play with this to speed her up or to take advantage of her abilities. Now, there's some obvious ones from standard, like Helm of the Host is a really great choice. I mean, you keep the original Etrata back, you make the legendary token, it swings in every turn. There's no such thing as shuffling a token back into your deck, so you don't have to worry about any of that, and you're guaranteed to have an Etrata every single turn. So that's really nice in terms of something that's available in standard to go with it. In terms of another recursive artifact that will allow you to get more mileage out of Etrata and get more usage, you've got Mimic Bat, and this is one that's slightly old school. It's 3 mana, well, not really old school for somebody like me, but somebody who hasn't been playing that long, it's old school. 3 mana artifact, imprint, so whenever non-token creature dies, you can exile that creature and it's attached to the Mimic Vat. And you can pay 3 mana and tap the Mimic Vat to make a token copy of the creature that's attached to the Mimic Vat with haste. So you'd be able to make an Etrata token with haste every turn. Same kind of concept as the Helm of the Host, and you just keep swinging in with it. So those two are fun, but I went further with it. Actually, I found a bunch of different ideas. In terms of artifacts to use with it, there's one more that is a really obvious choice, and that is Strionic Resonator. And just take a moment and look at that artwork, guys. Before we even talk about Strionic Resonator's ability, look at that artwork. It's like a mystical, otherworldly tuning fork, and you see what almost looks like a tiny little universe of magic in between those two tines, while there's these waves coruscating out, and it's on an island all by itself. The artwork is so gorgeous to me. But anyways, it's a 2 casting cost artifact. 2 untap it. Copy target triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. So this will allow you to copy Etrata's ability and target another creature. So you can get 2 creatures in 1 turn, which obviously is very, very attractive. And again, the Strionic Resonator is such a flavorful card. I love it. Its tines cannot be wrung by mere physical force. Only magic of great power can start its Eldritch Resonance. How dope is this card, guys? So cool. So, obviously, we're going to track back a little further. We'll keep going back further until we find the oldest, funnest stuff for me that tweaks that old nostalgia button. So, going back a little bit further, we've got Goryo's Vengeance. Now, obviously, people are really familiar with this one. Maybe not everybody, but this is actually a card that sees play and isn't just some sideline Kamigawa block card. So a black and a colorless nets you, returning a legendary creature card from your graveyard to play. It gains haste, and the creature gets removed at the end of turn. It gets removed from the game. Now, the end of turn trigger won't matter, because if you hit with Etrata, she'll get shuffled back into your deck. So it allows you to skip by getting it removed from the game. And these Goryo's Vengeances do splice onto each other, is nice. So on top of Etrata going to your graveyard naturally just from being killed or countered, there is another way to take advantage of her using Volrash Shapeshifter. That's another way to get her into the graveyard. And Volrash Shapeshifter is a really interesting creature in that you can really mess with your opponent. Like, let's take a look at what the card is first of all. It's 2 blue and a colorless for a 0/1 creature, so it's really fragile. But as long as the top card of your graveyard is a creature card, Volrash Shapeshifter is a copy of that creature card, which is really cool. And for 2 mana, you can discard a card. So for 2 mana, you can discard a card, and she turns into Etrata, and you just swing in with her. And then Etrata's in your graveyard, and you can Goryo's Vengeance Etrata back. So the Shapeshifter gets shuffled back into your deck, but Etrata is now ready to be Goryo's Vengeance. On top of that, the fun aspect of Volrash Shapeshifter, you can do tricky things like attack with her with Etrata as the top card of your graveyard, but then you could go ahead and after blockers are declared, because she's unblockable, you could actually pay 2 mana and discard Phage the Untouchable. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh look, you lose. That's fun. You know what I mean? Like, because the Volrash Shapeshifter, it's the same card. It does, even though it's changed to another creature, it doesn't have summoning sickness. It instantaneously changes. So all of a sudden it turns from Etrata running up to being like, Phage, oh look, I touched you. You're dead. And Phage is a really, really fun and interesting card with so much flavor. One that will make you lose the game if you play with it improperly, but you can cheat around it. And one that instantly kills any creature or player that she interacts with. Phage is really interesting because she's actually a melding of other interesting characters from Magic's history, but I'm not going to go into that because that is worthy of a video all on its own. I just wanted to mention how you could do fun little tricks like that with Volrash Shapeshifter, and that's getting into the old stuff that I love. So there's a couple more cards that I thought would be really fun, because when it comes to Etrata, obviously, if you can do something in response to her trigger saying shuffle me back in, the combat damage has already been dealt. The trigger saying remove the creature will still go off, but if you can somehow get her out of play, you won't have to shuffle her back in. So using a blink effect, for those of you who don't know what a blink effect is, it's just a temporary effect that removes a creature from play and brings it back. Now, most blink effects are white. However, there's an old school pseudo blink effect called phasing. Now, if you guys don't know phasing, that's because it's all the way back from the 90s, baby, like 96 or something like that. Phasing is a wonky, mostly useless ability that they used where they would put it on a card, and a card with phasing says, every turn, all cards with phasing that are in play go out of play, as if they don't exist, and all cards that are out of play with phasing come into play. So they take turns. Basically, phasing means here one turn, gone the next. Here one turn, gone the next, right? But there are ways to take advantage of that if you can give a creature phasing at instant speed. And there are 3 ways that I've located to do this. One is Reality Ripple. This is an instant, 1 blue, 1 colorless, target artifact, creature, or land phases out. Now this is from the old school Mirage block. It's got a quote from Teferi here. Can you prepare yourself for the unexpected? No, you cannot. You can prepare only to be surprised. I like that. I like that flavor text. I like the artwork, the way the guy is like rotating away, like as his reality ripples away, he's screaming. What kind of crazy feeling would that be? As he's just pulled out of existence. And when you phase, you stay in the exact same state. You keep your +1/+1 counters, you keep enchantments, everything goes with the creature, and everything comes back, and the creature is treated as if it didn't have summoning sickness when it comes back from phasing and everything. Phasing is a weird beast. So if you phase out Etrata in response to the trigger saying to shuffle her back in, then she'll be phased out. At the beginning of your next turn, when all phased out creatures return, she returns and she's ready to go. So Reality Ripple is a one-shot use. You can actually get that ability on a reusable effect many times with one of my favorite merfolk of all time. I absolutely love this guy. I'm a huge defensive player, and this dude tickled my defense button. Tickle that button. 1 blue, 2 colors for a 2/2 merfolk. Pay 2 blue, tap it, target creature phases out. So cool. And the flavor text is from Tongarth. Tauron, gore these shifty fishtails. You can't even get close to one. I love that, because Tongarth was always representative of just pure like red rage and anger and always wanting to go in and beat. And just the idea of the merfolk constantly like, no, like you can see in the artwork, you can see that crazy giant gaping mouthed eel is actually being removed from existence. You can see it starting to turn translucent around the torso of the Vidalian Illusionist. So this one allows you to do that reality ripple effect every turn on Etrata, which is fantastic. Now there's one other way to get that, and that's with Vanishing. And that's a 1 blue casting cost enchantment, 2 blue enchanted creature phases out. So out of every option, this one's the best one, really. Although Vidalian Illusionist can also be used defensively and to hit other creatures. But in terms of just keeping Etrata good to go, Vanishing is a great way to be able to protect her as well. Because you can do it as much as you want. 2 blue, I'll phase her out. Oh, I'm going to do this in response. I'll pay 2 blue, phase her out again. And careless, like a child with fire, so was I with time. Another amazing quote from Teferi. Teferi totally caused a crazy, catastrophic time, crazy event, and he ended up with, Urza mainly did it, but he ended up trapped in time. There's all this epic stuff in the storylines. I remember at one point, Teferi was trapped in a slow time bubble, and he's burning alive. He's in this slow time bubble, burning alive. And they don't know what to do. They're trying to figure out what to do, and they've like dropped like a water-soaked blanket onto him, and they're like hoping that it'll drift down. It's a really cool story. But anyways, let's get back to it. Vanishing to me is best bang for the buck when it comes to what to combine with Etrata. And Etrata is an absolute home run. I adore this card. So let me know what your guys' opinions are on the card, and we are going to go ahead and check in with the 6th color of Magic.
Undeniable proof that perp is soft and fluffy on the inside, because together we are the 6th color of Magic.
And now, my friends, we come to the final portion of the episode where we roll the golden scroll. Thank you for the support. Glad to have you here. And now, what would you like? More fantastic lore? Or you want to check out my other channel? Get on over here. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Help a brother out. Do it up. And I'm history, baby.